You know a party is in trouble when those who were always trying to defend the misdeeds of that party, when those who were always ready to defend all the pain this party inflicted on millions of Americans. You know, Charlie Sykes was no different than any other Republican pundit who was there defending Republican policies. And, you know, anybody who knows anything about how an economy works knows that Republican policies damage everyone except the very wealthy, and that they get a whole lot of votes in the past and they get somewhat enough votes now is simply based on the miseducation of many of us. Those are provable facts. Now, that many of them, like Charlie Sykes here, have turned around and really start describing the Republican Party for what it has become, the leadership for what it has become, it tells you that the descent into the abyss that has occurred within this party is now creating a clear and present danger for society at large. These guys wouldn't come out. I mean, after all, don't forget, they still support basic Republican conservative policies we know harm people. But, you know, it doesn't put the Republic in dire straits as quickly as what these current list of sycophants are doing. And I'm not just talking about the 20 guys who are no longer supporting or who don't support McCarthy. I am talking about McCarthy and the entire clan. Again, they are going to be inconsequential with regards to any policy going forward because they won't get passed. But here's the danger. Well, I tell you what, let's listen to what Charlie Sykes had to say, and then we'll talk about the dangers thereafter.
We now have an actual press release from this man saying he's been sworn in. On what planet are we currently living on? Like, seriously, what's going on?
Well, I mean, think about it. This is a guy that lies about when his mother died, so he's pretty much capable of everything. He didn't embellish his resume. He just made everything up. But, you know, he is serving an interesting function in this caucus right now, because you have Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, well, you know, I'm not as much of a lying grifter as Matt Gaetz, and Matt Gaetz can look over at Santos and say, well, hey, I'm not as crazy and a lying grifter as that guy. You know, in a caucus that, you know, is filled with cranks and losers. You know, Santos really does stand alone, but in so many ways, he's a personification of this age of grift that we live in, the personification of the era of Trump, somebody who is, you know, completely fictitious, a chronic liar, and someone with absolutely no shame whatsoever. So on an incredibly shambolic day, his presence sitting alone and shunned at the back was just sort of a cherry on top of this clown car, to mix a metaphor rather badly.
Oh, okay, but like, we can't even joke about the clown car, Jen.
Yeah.
Because if anyone was caught telling lies like this in private industry, in school, you would be fired or you would be expelled. Is this not just another terrible example of how public trust in our government will further erode?
Yeah.
Now, Charlie's right. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Charlie. I mean, yes, somebody like Santos does serve a purpose, because he is such a degenerate that he makes the average degenerate in the party seem less degenerate than they really are. But these things have consequences. We have the debt ceiling debate that's coming up. And if Democrats are forced to, to save not only the American economy, but to save the world's economy, given that it's based on our credit trustworthiness, they may have to cut a negative deal, a deal that hurts many Americans, to get the debt ceiling passed, or we're going to have to get a president, Biden, that thinks outside of the box. And I don't know that President Biden is the type that will think outside of this box that he's lived and created in his entire life. I mean, they're going to have to do certain things like take executive power and say, to hell with Congress. I will not allow the country to fail with the debt ceiling, etc. Yes, they got a lot passed to mitigate the 2 years that's gone where nothing is going to get done. But there are still things that need to be done. Why? They should have busted the filibuster in December to get the debt ceiling passed. If only for the debt ceiling, they should have busted that filibuster to get it done, but they didn't. Again, Democrats are learning to be a bit more assertive than they normally are, but they have a long way to go. If the shoe were on the other foot, McConnell, knowing that he's going to be with a Congress that doesn't share his beliefs, values, or he won't be able to turn, would have done exactly what he did with the Supreme Court, change the rules to satisfy his immediate wants. We need to learn that. I hope in the long run, Democrats learn that. Right now, it's too late for the debt ceiling. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if sensible Republicans join Democrats to ensure that we just get a clean debt ceiling bill passed. After all, we know who the Republican Party is. We know the Republican Party is defined by George Santos. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.